Hi, we're on the grounds of Bacon's Castle today. We're actually looking at a building that's less known about. The structure you see behind me, at least the core of it, was actually built in the second half of the 18th century. When it was originally constructed, it was actually built as an attached wing to Bacon's Castle. It wasn't until the mid-19th century that a new wing was constructed, that this wing was actually removed from the castle and moved on site east of the main building where it's been sitting since then.
Okay, so we have a portrait of this cottage attached to Bacon's Castle, and it was published in 1839 done by Frank Leslie, and it shows the cottage on the basement. You can see the English basement windows, and you can see a bulkhead entrance. I think it's on this side. So that much we know.
The castle grew constantly. You talk about the castle had a massive hog operation. It had its own orchard, its own cider mill. They bottled all their own wine. There was a massive amount of industry going on here, and as industry grows, expands, and changes over the generations, you need more and more utilitarian buildings. You need more living spaces, and you need to adapt all of your spaces to different uses. Not serving its purpose on the castle anymore, so it got a new life, moved a little bit farther away as a caretaker's cottage. So everything got used in this place, and it grew as the castle grew. Now it's got a very nice little kitchen on the back. Everything changes over time. Adaptive reuse is really the way, in my opinion, that all historic structures survive through the ages. It's still there because it's still used.
Our preservation team is anticipating doing some restoration work on the building, and before that we are doing some documentation. So what our team is doing is actually documenting the original floorboards of the structure. From that, we're hoping to get an understanding of how that basement space was originally used, and how people that were using that space interacted with the building.
My name is Allison Brashears. I am a junior preservation craftsperson with Preservation Virginia now. I started June 2nd of this year, so I'm still pretty new at it. Before this, I worked with the Park Service Historic Preservation Training Center for about 2 years as both an intern and a federal employee. So now with Preservation Virginia, I'm getting the chance to kind of make a little bit more connections with what I'm working on, and even more connections with the people that built the structures, like the people from the past that, you know, they're unnamed, unknown for the most part.
One thing about this building is that there's not a ton of documentation on this, because essentially it was sort of a temporary structure that they decided to detach and move elsewhere. So we're going to be making a framing schedule and essentially taking a look at what's going on under this building to figure out what was attached where, what's been changed, what kind of fasteners were used in different places.
So you can see right here we have one of those really big 18th century forged nails used for hanging. You go under here, see some more of them. All the floorboards and floor joists are whitewashed. And then up here we even have some of those original 18th century floorboards that have been gauged and undercut. So we're definitely seeing an area that was absolutely used and occupied.
These buildings, you can go over them 20 times and the 21st time you'll find something you didn't find. So it's really, you know, you just keep looking.
I've been thinking about the stuff that like architectural historians do, and just really anything that involves like connecting the hands-on work with like the historical analysis. So I'd love to get to do more of this sort of documentation work in short. Like this is a lot of fun, especially like mapping everything out is really cool.
What would you say is your favorite PV site and why?
Bacon's Castle. I don't know. It's just this is where I did my second my in-person interview, and I just like driving up to it. I was like, wow, this is really unique. I guess really anybody could tell that driving up. You know, it's just like a plain field, and then you see this building that you can tell has really old bricks, and then the interesting work that happens with the chimney. Like it's just even for somebody that doesn't know history, it's like that's a cool building. That means something.